I want to tell you something I have observed across 2 decades of moving through professional rooms with women who are by any measure exceptional. Women who run things, women who have built things, women who are at 52 or 58 or 63, more vital, more present, and more magnetic than they were at 38. And I want to tell you the one thing it is not. It is not their budget. It is not their genetics. It is not their access to treatments the rest of us cannot afford. I have watched women with identical resources age in completely opposite directions, and the variable every single time was not what they had. It was what they refused to skip. 10 habits held on the hardest days, on travel days, on grief days, on days when the calendar started at 6 a.m. and did not stop until midnight. These women did not protect their health because life was easy. They protected it because they had decided at some point that their health was not a reward for a good week. It was a standard. Full stop. That is what this video is. 10 specific biology-backed habits, the ones wealthy, well-preserved women hold without exception, broken down one by one so you can take them and make them yours. Stay until the end. I have a free gift waiting, the Elegant Morning Routine Checklist, 12 rituals of women who are timeless, healthy, and undeniable after 40. I will tell you exactly where to get it, but only if you stay. Habit 1. The cortisol window. Most women hand their nervous system over to external demand within 60 seconds of opening their eyes. Phone in hand, notifications loading, the day already pulling before the body has arrived in it. And most women have no idea that in doing so, they are making a hormonal decision that shapes everything that follows. I want to show you what that decision costs and what protecting it produces. But first, there is something you need to understand. The cortisol awakening response is a natural, beneficial hormonal event. In the 30 to 45 minutes after waking, cortisol rises deliberately. This is the body's own calibrated, energizing mechanism. Research from the University of Westminster confirmed that alarm disruption followed by immediate screen exposure blunts this response measurably, replacing the body's natural arc with a stress-driven spike that elevates baseline cortisol for up to 2 hours. Elevated cortisol in those hours accelerates skin aging, disrupts appetite regulation, and degrades the focused clarity that distinguishes a sharp morning from a reactive one. My own rule has not broken in years. No phone for the first 30 minutes. A physician I know who works with women in perimenopause calls this window the most important 30 minutes of your hormonal day. She does not mean it loosely. The resolve. Habit 1 is simple and non-negotiable. No phone, no input, no external demand for the first 30 minutes after waking. Hold this on the busiest days most of all. Those are the days your nervous system most needs the protection. But here is where most women stop. And the first 30 minutes mean nothing if what follows them dismantles everything they just protected. Habit 2. Warm lemon water before anything else. Most women reach for coffee first. I am not here to take your coffee. But what happens when caffeine enters a dehydrated, fasted body that has not yet received water is worth understanding precisely, because it is not neutral. Overnight, the body loses approximately 500 milliliters of water through respiration and perspiration. The lymphatic system, which clears metabolic waste and has no pump of its own, is at its most stagnant point of the day. A nephrologist I spoke with at a wellness conference put it plainly: caffeine before water asks a depleted system to perform. Water before caffeine asks it to restore. These are not the same instruction, and the body knows the difference. Warm water, not cold, which constricts the gastrointestinal tract, is absorbed approximately 30% more efficiently, according to research in the Journal of Human Nutrition and Dietetics. I add the juice of half a lemon, citric acid to stimulate bile production, vitamin C as a cofactor in collagen synthesis. This combination, held every morning for a decade, is the foundation of the hydration standard I watch well-preserved women hold universally. The resolve: 400 to 500 milliliters of warm lemon water before coffee every morning. It takes 3 minutes. There is no day too full for 3 minutes that changes the biological trajectory of everything that follows. But here's where most women stop. And what comes next determines whether the hydration you just built gets used properly or runs straight through a system that cannot absorb it. Habit 3. The probiotic standard. Gut health is one of those topics most women know they should address, and almost none address specifically enough to make a difference. A general awareness that probiotics exist is not a protocol, and without a protocol, the gut, which governs skin quality, mood stability, immune resilience, and weight regulation simultaneously, operates at a fraction of its capacity. Research from King's College London found that women with diverse, well-supported gut microbiomes showed measurably lower systemic inflammation, better skin barrier function, and more stable cortisol regulation than women with disrupted gut environments, independent of age, genetics, or skincare routine. The gut-skin axis is not a wellness trend. It is a documented biological pathway. A gastroenterologist I know describes consistency as the only thing that separates a probiotic from an expensive capsule. One daily, taken at the same time, morning with water before food, with clinically backed strains, Lactobacillus acidophilus and Bifidobacterium longum at minimum. The resolve: one probiotic capsule every morning before food. Consistent, not occasional. Your gut cannot build a stable microbiome from intermittent effort. This is one of the highest return 2-minute habits in this entire list. But here is where most women stop, and the gut cannot do its work without the fuel that feeds it. Habit 4. Prebiotic fiber daily. Most women take a probiotic and consider the job done. The probiotic introduces beneficial bacteria, but beneficial bacteria require food to survive and multiply, and that food is prebiotic fiber. Without it, the bacteria the probiotic delivers do not establish. They simply pass through. This is the missing half of the gut health equation that most wellness content skips. Prebiotics are specific types of dietary fiber found in leeks, garlic, onion, asparagus, and chicory root that selectively feed bifidobacteria and lactobacilli, the strains most associated with reduced inflammation, improved mood, and the gut-skin axis function I described in the previous habit. I add half a clove of raw garlic to my morning routine, pressed into warm water, or incorporated into breakfast, a practice I began after reading a clinical nutrition paper that tracked gut microbiome diversity across dietary patterns. The women in the highest diversity quartile ate prebiotic foods day not occasionally. The difference in inflammatory markers between the highest and lowest quartile was equivalent, the researchers noted, to a decade of biological aging. The resolve: prebiotic fiber every day through food or a quality supplement, leeks, garlic, onion, or a chicory root-based prebiotic powder. This is the fuel that makes your probiotic work. Without it, habit 3 is incomplete. But here is where most women stop, and the body cannot build anything without the raw material that governs muscle, skin, and metabolism simultaneously. I promised you something at the beginning of this video: the elegant morning routine checklist. 12 rituals of women who are timeless, healthy, and undeniable after 40. Every ritual is grounded in the same framework we built today: cortisol regulation, hydration sequencing, protein standards, gut health, inside-out skin support, and the identity practices that transform the morning into a deliberate act of self-respect. The link is in the description. It is free. It is yours. Habit 5. Protein at breakfast. This is the habit with the broadest biological impact on how a woman looks and feels after 40. And it is the one most women over 40 are getting most catastrophically wrong. After 40, a woman's ability to synthesize muscle protein from dietary intake declines by approximately 20 to 30%. This means her body requires more protein per meal, not less, to maintain the lean muscle mass that governs metabolism, posture, skin firmness, and insulin sensitivity. Simultaneously, collagen production declines at approximately 1% per year from her mid-30s, and collagen synthesis is protein-dependent. Inadequate protein at breakfast is not a neutral choice. It is a biological withdrawal from 3 accounts at once: muscle, skin, and metabolic health. A nutritionist I worked with in my early 40s restructured my breakfast entirely. Out went the fruit smoothie I had believed was healthy. In came 30 grams of complete protein, eggs, smoked salmon, full-fat Greek yogurt within 60 minutes of waking. Within 6 weeks, the mid-afternoon energy collapse I had accepted as my normal was gone. Body composition shifted. Skin quality improved. 1 change. 3 simultaneous returns. The resolve: 25 to 30 grams of complete protein at breakfast every day. Eggs, Greek yogurt, smoked salmon, or a quality whole food protein source. This is not a diet. It is the nutritional standard your biology requires after 40. But here is where most women stop. and breakfast protein without the right distribution across the rest of the day leaves the framework structurally incomplete. Habit 6. Protein distributed across every meal. Research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that protein distributed evenly across 3 meals produces measurably superior muscle protein synthesis compared to the same total quantity consumed in 1 or 2 sittings. The body can only utilize approximately 30 to 40 grams of protein for muscle synthesis per meal. What exceeds that threshold in a single sitting is not banked. It is processed as energy or excreted, which is exactly what our Undeniables Complete System covers in detail. A complete blueprint for the wellness, identity, and presence habits of women who are decided about how they age. It is linked in the description below. Most women who increase their breakfast protein do not adjust lunch or dinner accordingly. They end the day protein adequate on paper, but muscle synthesis deficient in practice, because distribution, not just quantity, is the variable that determines what the body actually builds. I structure every meal around a protein anchor. A board director I know, she is in her early 50s and has the body composition of a woman 15 years younger, told me her single nutritional rule: I ask what the protein is before I decide anything else on the plate. That question, asked consistently at every meal, restructures eating without restriction. The resolve: protein at every meal, not just breakfast. 25 to 30 grams per sitting, distributed across the day. Ask the protein question first. Build the meal from that anchor outward. But here is where most women stop, and nutrition without the stress management that governs how it is absorbed is only half the equation. Habit 7. The daily cortisol interrupt. Stress is not the enemy. Uninterrupted stress is. The women who age most vitally are not women without pressure. They are women with a specific daily practice that breaks the cortisol cycle before it accumulates into the chronic elevation that does biological damage. Research from Yale's Stress Neuroscience program found that chronic cortisol elevation is directly associated with telomere shortening, the biological marker of accelerated aging, and with increased visceral fat, disrupted sleep, and degraded skin barrier function. The damage is not dramatic and sudden. It is quiet, cumulative, and entirely preventable with a practice that takes less than 2 minutes. My practice is box breathing. 4 counts in, 4 counts hold, 4 counts out, 4 counts hold, repeated 4 times. Done 3 times daily, morning, midday, and before bed. A cardiologist I know describes it as the most underused cardiovascular intervention available to women. Stanford research on structured breathing confirms measurable cortisol reduction within minutes of practice. Not after weeks of meditation training, within minutes. The resolve: 3 90-second box breathing sessions daily. Set an alarm for midday if needed. This is not meditation. It requires no setting, no belief, no preparation. It is a physiological interrupt, and it is what prevents the quiet cortisol accumulation that writes itself on a woman's face and body over years. But here is where most women stop. And managing cortisol externally means nothing if the skin is not being supported from the inside. Habit 8. The inside-out skin protocol. No topical product compensates for what is not being supplied internally. The women who look 10 years younger are not simply using better skincare. They are managing their skin from the inside with the same precision they apply to what goes on it. And most of them have 4 daily inputs that almost no one is talking about. First, hydrolyzed collagen peptides, 10 grams daily in water or coffee. Research in the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology found measurable improvement in skin elasticity and dermal density after 12 weeks of consistent supplementation. Second, omega-3 fatty acids from oily fish or a quality supplement, which support the skin's lipid barrier and reduce the systemic inflammation that manifests as accelerated visible aging. Third, vitamin C, 500 to 1,000 milligrams daily, as a direct cofactor in collagen synthesis that the body cannot produce independently. Fourth, zinc, through food or supplementation, which regulates sebum production, supports wound repair, and governs the skin renewal processes that shift dramatically after 40. A dermatologist I know calls these 4 the invisible skincare routine, the layer beneath everything else that determines what topicals can actually achieve on the surface. The resolve: collagen peptides, omega-3s, vitamin C, zinc, daily. These are not optional supplements for women who have time. They are the biological inputs that determine what your skin does with everything you put on top of it. But here is where most women stop, and the final habit is where everything built during the day either gets consolidated or quietly dismantled. Habit 9, movement before the desk. This is not a workout. I want to be precise about that distinction because confusing the two is exactly what causes most women to skip this habit on busy days, believing they have no time for exercise. 7 minutes of deliberate movement, joint circles, slow intentional walking, 2 minutes of standing still with a long spine, and deliberate breath is not exercise. It is the body arriving. Research from the European Journal of Applied Physiology found that fascial tissue requires approximately 6 to 8 minutes of gentle movement after periods of stillness to restore its baseline elasticity. When that movement does not happen, the fascia carries its stiffness into the day. The woman wearing it moves as though she is still catching up, and rooms read that signal before she has spoken a word. A physical therapist I worked with in my early 40s watched me walk in one morning after a week of no morning movement and said, "You are moving like someone who has not yet arrived in her body today." She was right. I looked unfinished. Not tired, unfinished. I have not let a morning pass without those 7 minutes since. The resolve, 7 minutes of movement before sitting at a desk. Circles, walking, stillness, on every day, including the impossible ones. You are not training, you are arriving. And a woman who has arrived moves through every room she enters that day completely differently. But here's where most women stop. And what happens in the final hour before sleep determines whether all 9 of these habits compound or collapse. Habit 10, the evening ritual. This is the habit most women sacrifice first under pressure. The late night, the phone in bed, the skipped skincare, the variable bedtime. And in doing so, they undermine every single habit that preceded it. Because the evening is where the day's inputs are processed, where cellular repair peaks, and where the hormonal environment for the following morning is quietly set. Research from Harvard Medical School found that slow-wave sleep, the phase in which human growth hormone is released and skin cell regeneration peaks, is directly disrupted by elevated cortisol at bedtime, blue light within 60 minutes of sleep, and inconsistent sleep timing. The women who wake looking rested and vital are almost always the women who ended the night with intention. My evening ritual is 20 minutes, and it has not been shortened in years. Screens off 60 minutes before bed. A warm shower, which lowers core body temperature and accelerates sleep onset. Skincare, a retinol or active treatment followed by ceramide moisturizer because the skin's renewal cycle peaks between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m., and a prepared surface receives that renewal more effectively. And 3 written lines in a journal: what I observed, what I am releasing, and 1 intention for tomorrow. Research from the University of Texas found that structured pre-sleep writing measurably reduces the intrusive thought activity that delays sleep onset and fragments sleep architecture. Here is the complete picture. Habit 1 protects the cortisol window before the day begins. Habits 2 through 4 build the hydration and gut foundation that governs absorption, immunity, and skin. Habits 5 and 6 supply the protein that maintains muscle, collagen, and metabolic health through the decade when all 3 are most under threat. Habit 7 interrupts the cortisol accumulation that would undo all of it. Habit 8 feeds the skin from the inside out. Habit 9 brings the body fully present before it is asked to perform. And habit 10 closes the day with intention. So the repair work happens, and tomorrow begins from a restored position rather than a depleted one. 10 habits. None of them require a personal chef or a private doctor. All of them require only one thing: the decision that your health is not contingent on a good week. That decision is available to you right now. You do not need a perfect life to hold these habits. You need a decision that they are yours regardless of what the day brings. The next video is about the appearance standards, the specific grooming and presentation habits that signal self-respect in every room at every age. Subscribe and hit the bell. I will see you there. Isabel.